So there's a quote by someone called Katie Reed, and it's self-care is giving the world the best of yourself rather than what's left of yourself. I love that quote because it basically means so many of us, myself included, we're conditioned to give, 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 give. And the analogy I like to use that if you were a cup of water and every day you sleep and you fill your cup and you're pouring your cup to everybody, your cup is always empty.
Hello, guys, welcome to another episode of Fashion Days. I am Paras Chabra, the host for the show. In this podcast, I interview some of the most successful people in diverse fields who can share their story and help you to discover and pursue your passion and purpose. If you are looking for the answers to the questions like how to find my passion, how to have a fulfilling career, or how do I follow the path of my passion, then this is definitely going to help you. Have you ever thought about the question what is self-love that some people keep talking about? Some people say that you should first love yourself in order to help others, whereas some say to devote your life to service. Oh my god, this is so confusing. Well, to answer our questions about self-love, we have with us Cas Germain, who is a life coach based in UAE. She is an amazing person and a self-care geek as she calls herself. Let's listen to this amazing conversation that I had with her. Hi Cas, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Paras. How are you?
Yeah, I'm also doing great. So, Cas, before starting, I would like to know what does a life coach do actually?
Yes, absolutely. So a life coach is somebody who provides a safe space in order for you to potentially, if you have any issues that you're facing, it's future goal orientated. So what I mean by that is if you have an issue and you're at point A and you need to get to point B and C, we hold a safe space to talk about anything that is preventing you from reaching your future goals.
Okay. If I'm not wrong, do you think life coach acts as an accountability partner and someone or do you think life coach also provides you help in some certain skill set also?
Yes, so when I say future goal orientated, it could be if you're anything that's, for example, if you're about to do a presentation or you want to achieve a task. So many swimmers or athletes have life coaches to help with their mindset, to get them in the frame of mind in order to, win something. A lot of CEOs and entrepreneurs, they have to do public speaking, or often they can suffer with anxiety and nerves. And it's about, again, it's just stopping that thought process to get you to deliver, because ultimately, as a life coach, we know that you're capable. We know that we hold you in a higher purpose. We know that you're capable of achieving your goals. However, sometimes it's often our thoughts that stop us, not actually our talents.
Okay. Okay, so basically with the mindset issues is what that the life coach helps you.
Absolutely.
If we look at the person's point of view, I also asked this question to a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
when should someone go looking for a therapist? So the answer was that when you think that something is affecting your daily productivity, something is affecting your daily life, then that is the right time you should go for it. Maybe for, let's say, 2 weeks something is consistently pulling you down. So what about a life coach? How is it different from therapist, and when should one go for looking for one? Because I'm saying that because I don't usually see many people, especially in India. The people are not very, I would say, not very comfortable maybe in going for a life coach. Or usually I've seen this really for common people to go
Mm-hmm.
for a life coach. Yeah.
Sure. I think a lot of it is it's a fairly new phenomenon within sort of the mass market, if you like. A lot of
Yeah.
people before would go for it if you were a CEO, if you're an entrepreneur, if you were, you went from middle management to senior management within a company, and then you're taking on a more authoritarian position. People then would say, "Oh my gosh, for me, I've experienced, going from a middle management to senior management, and they're thinking, I'm in charge of a company. In 1 minute I was with a team. How do I change my relationship? Will they take me seriously?" So it's a lot of, like I said, future goal orientated. So it's about supporting them. How will I present myself in a team meeting? How do I set healthy boundaries? Because I've gone from friend now and colleague to manager, or, to senior. So it's about working through their mindset on supporting this. it's self-esteem related, but we talk about the thought patterns because often people have thought patterns. And again, perfect example of someone who's had a promotion, for example, where they know they wouldn't have applied for the job if they didn't think they could be senior. But then when they get there, they're like, that negative thought comes in your head and you're like, can I do it? Am I in the right job? You have something called imposter syndrome where it's like, why did they hire me? Am I good enough? You know you're good enough. So what a coach would do is come in there, we discuss the thought patterns that are letting you have this belief, because it would come from a time in your life where, you know, that thought has been made true, and we dissect it and then work on, you know, how you'll perform or what you need, you know, to set healthy boundaries or to set meeting targets or what have you, in order to be at your absolute best. So again, it's about your future, that next step in your life, and how we'll support you to get there. Whereas a therapist will look at your past. So, you know, I'm suffering with anxiety. Every morning I'm getting up, it's impacting my life. A therapist would talk about, you know, hold the space for you to discuss that issue mentally. As a life coach will support you to get to from that, you know, manager to the senior position, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay. Now I'm going to dive into your domain, which I saw is that you call yourself a self-care geek, right? If I'm
Yes,
not wrong.
absolutely.
So one thing is which I usually I see people confusing, and I myself also get confused about, is how is like self care and self love different from being selfish? Like, what is the boundary, and like, can you explain both of these?
Please, of course. So there's a quote by someone called Katie Reed, and it's self-care is giving the world the best of yourself rather than what's left of yourself. And I love that quote because it basically means so many of us, myself included, we're conditioned to give, 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 give. And the analogy I like to use, that if you were a cup of water and every day you sleep and you fill your cup and you're pouring your cup to everybody, your cup is always empty, you know, and then you're trying to function for yourself from an empty cup because you'll keep pouring water onto everybody else. And I think when you're serving on empty, you don't feel great. You don't, you know, you feel exhausted, you're tired, you're lethargic, you get cranky, people start annoying you. You're thinking, I've just done this for you. Why are you asking for more? I can't give it. You know, you're really stressing yourself out, and that impacts your mind and your mindset, and sometimes your self-worth, because you're thinking, I'm giving to everyone, no one's appreciating me, you know, and even though people don't even know you're doing it, we just naturally give as humans. And what the idea is giving the world the best of yourself by self-care is doing things that serve you. And what I mean by that is, you know, making sure that you sleep well, you know, and if that means you not speaking to a friend or speaking to someone for a shorter period of time, making sure you get your 8 hours of sleep, making sure that you are looking after yourself, you're eating properly, making sure that you, again, a lot of us are working from home. Are you having healthy relationships where if you're online too much, do you need to reduce the time that you're online? Or if you're messaging everyone at all times, do you need to say, actually, you know, guys, from 7 o'clock onwards, I'm just going to have a bit of me time, so I'll be away from my phone. So setting that healthy boundary where you can be of service to yourself and get what you need, in order to be of better service to others around you. And I think so many people that I've met within coaching, and myself and my peer group, etc., we give because we feel like our worth is dictated on how much we can give. And it's actually not. It's when you put a boundary in place. And I say, you know, if a friend said to you, Paris, you know, tonight I'm just really tired. Like, I just want to, I just need to stay indoors. I'm going to have time to myself. You wouldn't think, oh my God, what a horrible person. How dare they, you know, how dare they be tired and rest? I mean, they should be with me. No one thinks like that, you know. So I think it's about being honest and open. And that does require a level of vulnerability to say to people, you know, I'm actually going to be alone today, or I'm just going to go to the gym for an hour alone. I mean, you may not want company, and to look after yourself. And again, when you feel good in yourself, when you feel, you know, I've eaten well, I've slept right, I've worked out, or whatever it is that you need, you're a better service to others because you show up in the world better. And since, you know, doing the coaching myself, I'm making sure I do have 3 workouts a week. You know, it's not like, oh, actually, I'll be there for my friend, I won't go to the gym, I'll make sure I'm there, when I'm really thinking I would really love to work out right now. So just putting things in place, and it might require organizing your life. It might require distancing yourself from certain people, who are not serving you, because sometimes a lot of people hang out with people that they're not actually that happy with, and they're thinking, this person is draining me. I'm giving and they're draining me. So is it a case that you spend less time with that person, or you have more friends involved, so they're not draining you as much, and they're not requiring too much of your energy? So it's about setting healthy boundaries in order to be a better service to the world around you.
Okay. Like, I think you asked my another question also, like, which was like, how can self love and service coexist? But I
Mhm.
think this answers that you cannot do, like you gave the example, like you cannot do a charity with an empty bowl, right?
Exactly.
So you should if I'm not wrong, self love entails taking care of your body and your mental fitness and all that. That is what self love involves, or self care, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so my next question is about, like, I was scrolling through your profile and somewhere you have mentioned that, yeah, you are your best version when you are being your true self. You are most happiest when you are
Absolutely.
being your true self and you are living your values.
Hmm.
So how does one identify this, that what are their true values? Like, how does one articulate them, and when does one realize that, hey, this is not something that, and that is my true self? Yeah.
So first you come to a coaching session and we'll go through it in depth. However, when you live in your values, you show up authentically to the world. And there's a difference between fitting in and being yourself. When you are yourself and you live by your values, so my values, for example, I've done in the work, mine are family is a big value for me. So I wake up every day making sure I speak to my parents at some point of the day. That's a really important value. When I don't do that, it I start getting anxious, and so I know I have to make sure I speak to my parents. It's about being accountable. So when you are living in your true self, it, you have to do the work to set those healthy boundaries. And that's why I'm saying the self-care is so important. And again, it's whatever works for you. Some people may need alone time to feel nourished. Some people might need more time with friends. So whatever it is that serves you to show up in the world in the best way for you. So your Paris, your self-care will be different to mine, to your friends, to your aunties, uncles, etc. So that's how, when you do things that serve you, i.e. eating, sleeping, watching TV, not watching TV, what have you, then you're showing up more authentically in the world. And when you fit in, a lot of that is maybe about social norms. It's about conforming to ways that society or certain groups see you. And that is very stressful in itself, because you're then, again, pouring from the empty cup, as I said, where you're thinking, I'm trying to be this person in order for their approval, where really it's about, I approve myself. How are we going to work together in a relationship, friendship, work capacity to make this work? Because I think often, particularly, with millennials, I'm a millennial myself, you try and fit in. And by doing that, you compromise yourself a lot of the time. And that's where the anxiety comes in, and then you start questioning yourself and doubting yourself, which is, you are your own best friend. You're the person guiding yourself through life. Um, and you need to, when you know yourself and you know your values, i.e., is it family, is it love, is it money, is it success, whatever that is to you, when you live by those, that's your moral code, if you like, your moral compass. And then when you are living by that moral compass that's right for you, you start attracting the right people, because you are owning up and standing up for who you are. And that's not to say you're negative and you're mean about it. That's not to say I'm not hanging out with these people, or I'm not, it's about owning yourself and taking the time to nurture yourself to know what's right for you. And then by default, you may start attracting people that actually have the same values as you. And you're like, hey, you know what? This is cool. And if I may give you an example, we're here in the UAE, and there's a big culture on weekends where people go out and have a brunch. Now, if you feel in order to fit in, I need to go and party every single weekend, if that's serving you, fantastic. You're having a great time, great. If you're just doing that to make friends, when really you'd rather be at the gym. But it takes courage, doesn't it, to leave a group of friends who are always out all the time, and you're thinking, but I want to go alone, I want to work out, I don't want this lifestyle. That takes courage and vulnerability to stand up for yourself and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to start living my value of fitness, actually, because I don't really want to be out all of the time. That takes courage. But when you start going to the gym and you're owning up to yourself, and yes, you know, you'll be alone, you might be nervous, thinking, oh, I'm away from these people, they're going to disown me, etc. You'll start attracting, then maybe people in the gym will start, you know, becoming friendly with you, because they're like, oh, hey, we have this fitness thing together, let's go cycling, let's do a class, let's do this. So you start showing up more authentically, even though in the beginning it can be nervous to stop from what your past was doing into your new self. But when you show up as your authentic self, then that's when growth and happiness and authenticity truly begins. You start attracting like-minded people. Does that make sense, Paris?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That was very beautifully explained. After this, like you talked about moral compass, like living by your moral compass, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
is this something you articulate, or is this just a feeling? And this is just a feeling that comes from your side, or you can also articulate it, or you should spend time articulating it.
You should absolutely spend time on yourself. This is amazing, because again, this is a safe space right now. Essentially, this is kind of a session where this is coaching, where you spend time on what's important to you and what your values are. So, and it's a discussion. Again, we're holding space for you to talk about your values. So your moral compass or your values is absolutely worth you spending time on, because again, you know, a lot of people, gurus, what have you, believe everybody has a higher purpose, a higher calling in life. You know, you maybe it's a job right now, but you're thinking, I don't want to do this. I need to be starting my own business. I need to be creative, or actually I want to do more of a workout. Like, you know what is right for you. It's your mindset sometimes can stop you, or your circumstance. And again, when you're in a coaching session, you have that space, and you know, you, like I was saying before, a person's value could be fitness. If they're not in the gym working out, they're not honoring their value, and then that's going to make them miserable. They're going to start resenting people around them, again, because they're not owning themselves. So when you have a coaching session and we say, okay, what is important to you then? What are your values? And again, we spend a long time doing this in a session. When a
Okay.
person in that example said, okay, actually fitness is a value, that's why I'm getting annoyed at these people when I'm at the brunch and the parties, because I'm not going to the gym when I should be. And so that person then has discovered a new aspect of themselves. And then in the session, we'd say, okay, well, how can you honor that then? Like, what, you know, what does that mean to you? And they'll say, well, actually, I need to brunch. I could go to the gym in the morning before, or I could stop that and do a gym session. So it's about giving you the space and time to think. And, you know, Aristotle back in Greek mythology times hired people to think, thinkers. There's think tanks available in the world now where, again, you're having that space. And that's essentially what a coaching session is holding space for you to discover your true self, so you can live by your moral compass, because that's what helps you live in the world better. That supports your mental well-being, your physical, your sleep patterns, your friendships, your family relationships. You show up better in the world, which is what we need right now. We need more people living true to themselves, rather than, you know, compromising themselves all of the time.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So, like, how does one differentiate between their value and a belief? Like, how are those two things different? Or do you think that sometimes the people might have some values that are actually holding them down in their career?
Oh, good one. That's a really good question, Paris. I like that. I think just dissect the first bit. So a value is something that's true to you, and that can be influenced by your beliefs. So, you know, beliefs can be sort of, you may have like religious beliefs, or you might have beliefs of yourself, and they will be intertwined with your values. So, you know, I believe family is really important, and I hold that as a value of family. So they are very much intertwined. Um, a person's value, you know, as a coach, we're not in a position of judgment, we're in a position of holding space, and you're accountable for yourself. So when you said about a negative value, am I right in?
Yeah, like if I give an example,
Please.
like let's say if you have a strong value of having strong work boundaries, but
Mm-hmm.
like if you want to go into a journey of entrepreneurship which might require you to actually give all you have, go full guns blazing. Like, so you might have to fight with that value. I'm not sure if you have to call that a value or a belief, but like that's what I'm talking about.
Right, I'm with you. So yeah, you could have a value of success, for example. I'm just hearing from what you're saying, if I may. So you might have a value of success, say, and then you believe in order to be successful, I have to work every single hour God sends in order to be successful. So we then, as a coach, again, would look at how that value of success and the belief that you have to work hard in order to be successful is serving you. Now, I have a lot of this with entrepreneurs. This is very, very common within coaching when entrepreneurs come to me and say, my time management, I have to work all of the time. And what we do then is unpack that and look at their value of success. And, we'd say, a lot of clients I've had would say, if I'm not working and my business is not being productive, and then we'd look at productivity and what that means to that person. And is it burning yourself out, or actually is it maybe giving a certain amount of time, but actually waking up and going for a walk first thing so they can clear their mind and get their thoughts? Because what happens with the belief of success is actually procrastination. And a lot of entrepreneurs will feel that in order to be busy, they'll do a lot of things, in my experience of coaching, where they seem to be busy, but in their head, they're like, I'm just wasting time because I feel like if I'm not away from my laptop, I'm a failure. So it's that concept, that mindset of failure, because the value of success is is very important to them. So we'll unpick that and say, okay, what does failure look like then? And they'll say, and it'll be like, oh, I'm not making money, or I'm not helping my family. And then we'll say, okay, what does success look like? My business is running. And, so we'll gauge that conversation. Then we'll say, okay, what do you need more for you? And they'll say, I need to go to the gym more. I need to work out more. I need to have a coffee more with my friends. Or say, okay, they'll look at their schedule and think, actually, because what normally comes up, they'll say, I'm just busy being busy. Not, or it might leave space where actually I need to hire somebody because now my business is so strong, I can't maintain this level of energy. So again, you're holding space and looking at the beliefs concept, because obviously that's a mind and a thought pattern that they're using to honor that value. So you don't diminish the value, because that's obviously important to them, that's driving them. But again, you look at the beliefs, which are absolutely right, and saying, how can we work on that belief in order for you to honor the value most authentically, without compromising yourself. So it's a balance and a conversation that is constantly had. And anyone doing self-work for themselves, it's a constant journey. And we'll do a lot of work on mindset and the NLP, which is the neuro-linguistic programming, through powerful questioning, changing your thought pattern. They will catch you out, because these thought patterns have served you, through life. A lot of us are told you can't do this, or mine was permission. I always felt like I needed permission growing up, and I was nervous and anxious to kind of go to the next step in my career, because I was like, I need permission. And then when I had coaching myself, it was like, permission from who? Who are you asking? And I was like, oh yeah, like like you have that kind of light bulb moment. And now I do catch myself sometimes being like, if I want to start a new business, for example, I'm like, you need permission. And I just catch myself, as in the past that thought would override it and actually stop me, as now it's a little tiny tap and then it goes. So it's constant work, and even coaches will be coaching themselves. So yeah, it's a journey, but a beautiful journey when you discover yourself. It's a life-changing journey, it really is.
It's more about trying, just articulating. It's also about like trying what works for you, right?
Yes, and it's
What
constant.
serves you.
Absolutely, whatever serves you. And again, that's not through being selfish and it's about doing what's right for you on your terms, in order to show up better for your friends, your family, your loved ones, your work. And yes, it's constant work, and I truly believe you'll never make a bad investment in yourself. And it's about, even for you, Paris, I don't know, but I'm picking up now, like, afraid to make mistakes is something, I'm conscious of making mistakes. And, in a coaching session, we'll talk about how that's affecting you, and how that may, not you personally, anybody, how that is in fact impacting you to move forward in your life. Because again, as a child, if you've always been told you're amazing, so you're afraid to think, oh my gosh, if I make a mistake, then I'm not amazing anymore. So we can unpack that in a child or experience you've had in order to show up where you can catch yourself and be like, no, it's okay to make a mistake. And I'll move forward and, do whatever I need to do.
Okay. Okay. That's great. Okay. Now coming back to self love, I want to talk about taking care of your company. Talking about company, like many people say, you should actually choose your company very wisely. Like you should stay away from people who drain you out and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I want to ask about this, that how does one actually identify that a person is toxic for themselves?
Oh,
Like
I love it.
I think is it the compatibility? You can't say that the other person is wrong. Sometimes it might be that you are just having different beliefs and you are just in the opposite direction. There is no right and wrong. So like, how do you identify that a person is a toxic and I should let go of them? Or
Really,
maybe sometimes just change yourself, maybe you are the wrong one.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is why I said self-work is a journey, right? Because, and the analogy I gave earlier, so again, you might be in a position where, I was just saying, on the weekend, you might want to party all of the time. And for that moment of your time, that was serving you. Those people in your life were serving you. You're all going out partying. We're all on our own individual growth journey. So again, you might then be in a position where actually, I don't want to party anymore. Absolutely fine. It's your life, it's your journey. You're doing what's right for you to show up better in the world. I want to start going to the gym. Now, you might have people in that party who are like, hang on a minute, how dare you go to the gym? We're party pals. When you've explained yourself and said, look, I really don't want to party anymore. I'd love to see you outside of the party, but right now at this time, I need to be working out because it's right for me. You can join me, but I'm going to be working out. That's called setting a healthy boundary. You've communicated with those people. The ones who are on it, and the ones who are that care about you will say, you know what? Okay, cool. I support you. We'll we will, or can we party on Saturday, or we'll go to a gym session with you, or you know what? Good for you. Let's meet up after the gym. Um, that's a healthy relationship. You've said your intention. You've said it in a calm, safe space. You're honoring yourself. You're not compromising yourself. You have people who understand you. Now, sometimes in life, and again, I've experienced this in coaching and in life myself, when you decide to grow or you want to do something, for some people that can actually show up something in them. That can be an insecurity within them. That maybe I've seen the example of the party and the gym. A friend there might be like, why aren't you partying with us? Like, you should be partying with us. We've all partied together for ages. Like, what's going on? And again, when people project that onto you, it's about them, not you. So a lot of people will think, oh my gosh, like, am I a bad person? Should I not go to the gym? Should I carry on with partying? It's like, but no, I want to go to the gym. You have that dialogue in yourself. When a lot of people, and this is why doing the work on yourself, knowing your values, you can then, if that person had coaching, they'd be like, yeah, mate, cool, go for it. Like, I should do a session with you. But when sometimes people have unresolved issues in themselves, which is through their life, that's their journey, they might show up in a negative way with you. So it may not also, necessarily be toxic. And there's a lot of that toxicity going around. It might actually be that they may have unresolved issues within themselves, that when you are changing in your life and you're changing your trajectory in your journey, that's showing something in them. And often when people say stuff to you that you think, oh, I didn't ask for that. I think it actually highlights what's in them. That's something unresolved within them. And that then become toxic because you're trying to move forward in a positive way and they're, dragging you down, draining your energy. And this is why I talk, about on my page and within coaching about boundaries. What boundaries are you putting in place? Because if you have, I'm just using the example of the gym and the partying. If you had that friend who was pulling you saying, why, we're in this together. Why are you going to the gym? Why you should be with me? That means then they are obviously in a place where they're not ready to grow, or that something might be going on with them that's stopping them from supporting you, which is fine. That's their journey. How to handle that? Two ways. Firstly, you can put the healthy boundary in and say, hey, you know what? Let's meet up after my gym session. How's that? Or let's meet up on another day where, you know what, you're you'll be in a better position. I'll be in a better position because I won't be tired from the gym. Let's meet up on Thursday rather than Friday because we can both have some quality time together. So you're putting in a healthy boundary there that's serving you and that's serving the friend. Ultimately, if that friend, is still showing up in a negative way, you might be a case of spending less time with that friend and saying, let's go out on Thursday with 3 other people so we're all together again, because again, you might be in a social circle where you may have to see that certain person, but you minimize the time with them. Again, that's another healthy boundary that you're putting in place. But it's about honoring yourself. And sometimes as well, when you do growth work, you may have to let certain people go. And that's difficult. And that's where growth comes in. And that's why I talked in the beginning about belonging and fitting in. Fitting in is, you're draining me, but I'm still here because I feel like it's the right thing to do. Owning yourself and owning your stuff is by, maybe distancing yourself from that person and having some time apart. And that's not necessarily a straight cut off, like, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. That could be a healthy distance where you may be busy at times, saying to them, I'm going to the gym, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And you may miss that person, or that time apart from that person might actually make you think, you know what, they're not actually right for me. They're draining me. I don't want to take that on anymore. I can't give more to that person than what I'm already giving. So actually, I need to separate myself, and maybe it's time for me to go my separate ways and healthily distance myself from them. And again, that's why we have the space and talk about boundaries and how you can show up more authentically in order to be yourself. So the toxic thing, again, it might be a case that you check yourself and think, actually, am I being the negative one in the friendship group? And is there a reason why all these people don't want to hang out with me all of a sudden? Where am I coming up negatively and telling them? And again, it might be a case of having a healthy conversation, like, a way to approach it is everything okay, guys? Is everything okay with everybody? Or is there something that I'm doing that's making you not want to contact me anymore? Because I've noticed we're not in touch as much, and is everything okay with you? And you put it on them, and it gives them the space to say, actually, you know what, like, yeah, there's stuff going on in my family, or I've just been feeling down. You can hold that space for friends if you feel they're being distant or toxic, and it's a case of going in with them and saying, is everything okay? Because obviously they may need the space to say, actually, you know what, I'm having a difficult time with my partner, job, friend. You're like, oh, actually, it's not me. Because often a lot of people think it's them. If someone's being negative or anything, they're like, why are they doing this to me? They're so negative. Where sometimes if you actually relay it back to them and say, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay with you? They might be like, oh, I'm glad you asked. Actually, for the last 3 months, I've been feeling X, Y, and Z. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think you gave a perfect example of friendship only, like because I think since the childhood we have been taught like this, being friends for life, right? But when you grow up, you realize that you are moving into different paths, you are getting different habits. Like you gave a perfect example of drinking and all, and someone wants to go to the gym instead. So yeah, I think that's a very good explanation of like how you can take care of your company. I always have believed that when you take responsibility for others, your own needs get taken care of automatically, right? So like how do you think like this journey has changed yourself? Like what changes have you seen in yourself? Some top of the things, some things that come top of your mind.
Oh, you're asking amazing questions. I love it. I love the things that have come from me are truly letting go and being myself. And often I'm just going to, as a woman, I feel we're taught as children, like, be nice, be kind, say the right thing. And I think for me, it's about showing up as authentically as possible and not people pleasing all of the time. And I think some of us feel our worth is valued by how much we can please others. And often that's compromising yourself when actually people respect you more if you say, actually, I'm not available now, or Tuesday would be better for me. Again, because I can be more present with you because I'm actually exhausted. So it's about being more authentic, and people love it. Like, and that's not to say to be mean or to be nasty. That's not, I'm doing it whether you like it or not. That's having a discussion and talking about who you are with people and showing up authentically. So for me, it's setting healthy boundaries. I love it. And I'm not afraid to say how I feel and how I think, and to actually reach out to friends and say, you know what, I'm not having a good day today. I don't feel great. And that's not to say I'm a terrible person, or, oh my God, she's, her mental health's been affected today. It's not that. It's more showing up authentically. And again, by doing that, my friendships are better, my relationships are stronger, because my friends are like, hey, how are you doing? I didn't realize you're going through a tough time. Like, how's it going? People want to help you. People want to be there for you, and you get better relationships from being vulnerable and honest. And again, they're saying, their friends are coming to me now saying, oh, actually, Cas, like, I'm really tired today. Like, I can't make it. And I'm like, cool, no problem. Like, let's do it tomorrow. I don't want you being exhausted with me when we're having dinner and I'm thinking, what have I done wrong? So when you show up authentically, be vulnerable, be unapologetic, live for your purpose, you are really, you owe it to yourself, and you show up better in the world, and people will be inspired by that to be their best selves as well.
Okay. Great. That's great. I'm going to wrap up like with one last question. And like this was a very great conversation for me. It was like a free session for me as
Anytime.
well. Yeah. So any final advice that you would like to give someone who wants to live their purpose and discover their purpose?
Yeah, I would say to somebody who wants to discover their purpose, you can either call me and we can discover it together. But if you're listening and you want to do it yourself, which is fine, you can follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of things. It's about writing things down that make you happy. And it's taking that time that truly make you happy. What is it? Do you want to give to others? Do you want to, is there something that you want to do right now? Now we're in lockdown. Now's the perfect time to write down your goals and to then, spend time on them, thinking about it. Is it starting a business? What do you need to do? What, 3 things do you need to do to honor those values? It can be as well having like a friendship cleanse. What I mean by that, a friendship MOT as you would with a car, thinking about the friends and how you feel about them, and what boundaries do you need to put into place and how they're serving you. Could even be with family. How are family serving you right now? Are they, if you're spending too much time with a person, do you need to spend less time with them in order to function better, to be yourself? So I think the biggest thing is to check in how you feel when you're doing things. And if you're feeling great, do you want more of that greatness? And then is that something that you need to do as a career, or is it a person you need to spend more time with? So I would just say check in with yourself. And that will guide you to your purpose.
Okay. That makes sense. Thanks a lot, Cas, for this conversation. I'm sure that this is going to help a lot of people, and you are doing a great work. So final thing, like, would you like to share where can people reach you out?
Yes, sure. So the quickest way I would say is follow me on Instagram at themindfulteacher_UAE. I post daily motivational tips and quotes and things you can do to support you. And I ask you questions on Instagram as well. And you can also book me, and we can just have a discovery call where we spend about an hour talking about your values. And then we discover then whether we have the right relationship, in order for us to move forward, or not, which is fine. So I would say if you're curious, just we can speak about it. I'm not scary. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a help person. So there's no pressure. I'm very friendly and I want the best for you. So if it's something that you're interested in, book a free session and let's just talk about your journey and your goals and go from there.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for listening to the episode, guys. If you want to reach out to Cas, you can find the links in the description. She's an amazing person and I'm sure she can help you out to reach your maximum potential. If you haven't followed me on the podcast, please do that now. You don't want to miss out on some amazing episodes that are lined up. See you in the next episode.